what makes a person a dancer is not the amount of time that you spend in a dance studio or in class or anywhere. It's just the fact that you love to move wherever, whenever, and you enjoy it. And that's what makes you a dancer, period. There's no rule of what you need to do or what you don't have to do to be a dancer. As long as you feel like one, and as long as you enjoy moving, then you are a dancer, clearly.
Hey everyone, my name is Priscilla Piper and welcome to the Decision to Dance podcast. Today's guest is Annabell Patt, who is based in Berlin, Germany, and is a orchestra manager. This was a really fun and insightful and raw conversation today. We do talk a little bit about body image challenges. We don't go into a ton of detail, but we go into enough detail where I wanted to let anybody know up front. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you all, as always. So without further ado, please enjoy today's episode. I want to go ahead and first get started with asking you how and when you began dancing.
I think I first started when I was actually 3 or 4 years old. It was like ballet kind of thing for kids, or not really ballet, more like getting kids into moving, into dancing, that kind of thing. And then I grew up in Cologne, which is like in Western Germany, and carnival is a real big thing there. And there's a very specific way of doing like carnival dances. Like there's a lot of groups that do it together, and that's how I really got into it. Like when I was 5, I joined a group like this and I did it for like 10 years.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's how it all began. Yeah.
Okay. So what did that look like?
It's a bit like, like, for example, the Rockettes probably? Kind of like this, like a lot of girls being in a line and doing like kicks and jumps and acrobatic stuff.
Okay.
So it's like this, just with like funny carnival music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
So you did that for 10 years.
Yeah, a long time, yes.
And then how did your dance experience evolve after that?
I was invited to a workshop in Cologne from like it was more like a regular dance studio where they did like commercial and jazz and hip hop, all this kind of stuff. And I did a workshop week there, and that was just like something completely new. And I was just so fascinated by this kind of world that opened up there, and I just totally got addicted. And then I started doing everything I could possibly do. So yeah, that's how it went.
Cool. So you've trained, it sounds like, in a lot of different styles, from like ballet to hip hop. Anything
I was
else?
all over the place. Yeah,
everything.
Like basically, yeah. I
Cool.
even did tap dance, but just like 2 or 3 times just to try out. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Is there a certain style that like you gravitate towards the most, or are you still like just throw me in anything and I'm excited about it?
I think I'm a sucker for like good commercial jazz funk classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
That's my thing.
I love that. And when I looked at your Instagram, you don't have a ton of dance videos, but it's really cool to see that you have like you have that background in like ballet, seems like lyrical contemporary, but you also love commercial hip hop. So I love the versatility. That's very cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
When I was looking through your Instagram and just like the little I do know about you just from our like engagement over social media, I feel like you love watching dance maybe just as much as dancing. Would you say that's true?
That's totally true. Yeah.
Okay. I feel very similarly.
Yeah.
So what makes you love to watch other dancers?
There's so many things. I mean, I'm most fascinated by what people are able to express by movement. I think it's just incredibly fascinating, and how they put their emotions into, just basically movement. And there's just like such a variety of styles. And I'm especially fascinated by seeing different people doing the same combo, let's say, and what they make out of it. That is just incredible. And then also I'm just fascinated by people who have like crazy technique and can do the most extraordinary things. I just love to watch it. It's just fun. Yeah.
That's cool. I love that. I also relate to all of that. I feel like it's kind of almost for me difficult to put into words why I love it so much. I feel like I've just always been that way, but it's just intriguing to see other people's art and their artistic point of view. And it's just mesmerizing. I could watch it all day long.
Totally.
And I feel like you do have that artistic point of view. I feel like the way that you see the world is like you're always noticing the beauty in your everyday life. Have you always had that point of view, that artistic point of view?
I think so. And I don't really know where it started, but somehow, yes. And I mean, I'm a classically trained musician. So that has just been a huge part of my life always. Like some kind of art was always there. And I guess that's where it comes from. So yeah, it's interesting that you say it because I have not, I probably wouldn't have said that about myself, that I see the beauty in everything. I actually feel like I'm the opposite. I always see like what's not so great or what's bad, which is also like kind of typical for like artists, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. Yeah.
Okay. So would you like totally disagree then with what I said?
No, I think what I would agree with is I have an eye for aesthetics and for nice things, I would say. But yeah, I have to think about it. It's a nice a new thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that's my observation anyway.
Nice.
But I do feel like internally sometimes we can, like, I know I can be a lot more negative than how I present sometimes. I'm like, you don't know what's going on in here.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, as dancers and artists, we're always like very critical
Yeah.
of ourselves, of other things. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you said that you are a classically trained musician. Can you talk about how you got into that?
Well, I was singing in a children's choir when I was like 5 or something. Like my family was really religious, and so I joined the local children's choir at church, and then I also started playing flute because the choir conductor, he was also teaching flute, and then he also started giving me piano lessons, and then yeah, I got into that, and from there it then went, and then I got more serious about it when I was like 9 or 10 years old. And then at about like age 14, 15, I was like, okay, I want to do this like professionally. Yeah. And then it became really serious. Yeah. And then I ended up studying at like a College of Music in Berlin. Yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
kind of like, how it went.
That's, I feel like a lot to also balance as a kid too, because you were doing the dance related stuff and then doing the music stuff as well. Was that ever overwhelming at any point, or was it just like, I love all of this and want to keep doing it?
Probably was like that. I loved everything and I wanted even more. Like I wanted to do everything at the same time. And I know my parents had to juggle it as well because they had to take me to ballet class on Monday, then my flute lesson on Tuesday, piano on Wednesday, then again like dance class, crazy. But yeah, I was really into it. Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. Would you say that you are similar now in the sense of like how you're balancing your life? Like, are you feeling your life with music and dance and staying busy in that aspect, or are you kind of like not trying to be as busy as you once were as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously don't have as much energy anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, things like having a full-time job, which I mean, I don't work like as a pianist or something, so I have like a very different job now, which is obviously time consuming. But I do feel like I need like some kind of musical activity or dance or something to balance it out. And I can feel that I get like grumpy and really like unbalanced if I don't have it. Like sometimes I'm really like sitting down, like, and I'm like, why am I feeling so bad? And then I realize, okay, I did not take class. I did not sit up down on the piano for like 2 weeks. Of course I'm mad. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel very similarly as well. I feel like when I'm sitting for too long or not like immersing myself in art in some way or another, or a movement, it's like I don't feel good. And then once I just start moving a little bit, I'm like, oh, everything's better again.
Right. And also, I mean, music and dance and everything is just also like so good for putting your emotions into that. And so if I don't do it, I just mostly keep them locked. So that's also not helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Very cathartic. We're very
Mm.
lucky to have something where we're able to express ourselves and emote. So you are an orchestra manager. You talked about your full
Mhm.
time job. So can you talk a little bit about what that entails?
Well, I work in artistic planning department for like an international touring orchestra. So that means I basically develop all the projects that we do. That means I develop the program of the things that we're actually going to play. Who are we going to play with, like conductors, soloists, whatever. I coordinate that with the orchestra's board and with the different agencies and external artists. And then I'm also responsible for like selling the projects technically. And then I also go on tour a lot with the orchestra in order to be like there as a representative figure. Yeah, so it's
Wow.
very exciting and very intense also, but I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good. That's all that matters. That sounds like a lot of moving pieces constantly.
yeah.
And that's a lot if you're also touring with them as well. How often are you on the road with them?
Oof. I would say maybe 30 weeks per year.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's a lot. Like the beginning of the year, I was like from January to the end of March, I was technically all the time on tour, like just at home for like 3 or 4 days in between, and yeah,
Wow.
always on the road. Yeah,
So are you at home for a consistent amount of time right now?
yeah. Now I've been home for like 4 or 5 weeks, and my
Okay.
next tour is then next week, and then I will be
Oh,
gone for like 4 weeks again. So
got it. Wow. Okay. That is a lot. And I would imagine, I feel like with the traveling piece of it, it can maybe sometimes take a toll on your body and everything.
it does. Yeah.
So what is something that you do to get through like a challenging work time? Maybe it's when you're traveling, or maybe just like an experience at work where things aren't working out. Like what do you do to get through something that's challenging?
Um, Usually I try to carve out at least like 30 minutes per day, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but actually it feels like it's a lot. Just for myself without anyone around me, where I just maybe do a yoga session or just put on my headphones, listen to some music and just sit in my room in peace or or go for a walk, something like this, where I can just like calm down a bit and actually allow myself to feel how I'm feeling in that moment, because I tend to just totally ignore um like my personal state of well-being when I'm in this work mode.
Yeah.
So yeah, and sometimes I also like I just put on music and I start dancing, just start moving in my hotel room or in my living room wherever I am. That is
Mhm.
something that definitely helps. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point. I feel like when we're very busy, it can be difficult to say like that you have enough time. Sometimes it feels like you don't have enough time, but it's like we all have probably at least 30 minutes, if not something close to it, to give ourselves that time where
Yeah.
maybe it is we just need to sit in silence. And for me, I agree. I'm introverted. So I'm like, if I
Yeah,
could just not listen to people for a minute. Um,
exactly. Yeah, I
yeah,
can relate.
I'm sure that's also challenging, like when you're around people all the time too.
Mm.
So that's, I think, really good advice, whether you're traveling or whether it's just being at home. So, with the challenges that come with your job, what makes you love what you do so much?
I mean, I just love music. I am the biggest sucker for like classical music. I just there's for me there's nothing like it, and I'm still like sometimes I just sit in the audience or I just stand on stage and listen to a rehearsal, and I'm still fascinated by the power of it. And I just never get tired of listening to it, and all the stress around that. It just then evaporates. I'm just like, okay, this is why I'm doing it, and I strongly believe that it's something that we all should treasure. And I believe that it is something everyone should experience at least once in their life. So yeah, that's just something that keeps me going. Yeah.
I love that. So, with all of that going on, how does dance fit into your life right now?
I have to say, at the moment, it's not really existent, unfortunately. But that's also due to this extensive traveling that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just catch myself sometimes thinking like, oh, I really want to take class. I really have to. I really want to go. And then I'm like, oh, but actually, I want to rest. I want to stay home. So it's tough. So it's more like I have it in my head
Mm-hmm.
constantly that I
Mm-hmm.
want to go, that I have to go, and then I don't manage to do it. So yeah, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Sometimes that's just how it goes, though. Like, life
right.
happens when you have a full-time job and you're traveling. Oh my goodness, like, how do you find the time for that? But like you said, sometimes when you carve out that extra time for you, that 30 minutes, sometimes you are like listening to music or maybe moving in your room. So even that can be like how dance is in your life, even if you're not going to class all the time.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I tend to forget that that's also like something, dancing in your room is also dancing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot of how dance fits into my life right now. So
yeah,
I'm always like, that's still a way to have dance in your life.
yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah.
So for anybody that may be struggling with that concept of like, I don't have the time, I'm not able to be in class right now, I'm not able to dance consistently, um, and they're struggling to call themselves a dancer because of that, and they don't really see themselves as a dancer, what would you tell that person?
Mm, what makes a person a dancer is not the amount of time that you spend in a dance studio or in class or anywhere. Um, it's just the fact that you love to move wherever, whenever, and you enjoy it, and that's what makes you a dancer. Period. Like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be. There's no rule of what you need to do or what you don't have to do to be a dancer. As long as you feel like one, and as long as you enjoy moving, then you are a dancer. Clearly.
Yeah, definitely. And so we, before this, talked a little bit about the Galen Hooks method, and I
Mm-hmm.
know Galen is very much an advocate for always calling yourself a dancer. So can you talk about how you came across the Galen Hooks method? You said, I think it was back in 2019, you took your
Mm-hmm.
first session.
I mean, I think I just discovered her videos online, like her regular class videos. I think probably River was probably the first one I have seen. And I just totally got addicted to it. Um, and I have to say, like when I was between 15 and 18 years old, that's when I was like most active in the dance scene, in the dance community. And I was really like ambitious, and I took as many classes as I could, and I was really struggling a lot of times also with this kind of superficial approach that sometimes comes with it. And I started to compare myself to other people. Many things were only about how you look and not about how you dance. I just Instagram became really big in that time, like
Yeah.
all these kind of things. I went through it, and then I discovered Galen, and I also I think I saw an interview of her with, I don't remember, was it Brian Friedman or Wade Robson? I don't know. I saw something like this, and she just she mentioned some things that really immediately resonated with me, and I was like, oh, finally someone is addressing exactly what I'm thinking, or just gets my feeling that I constantly have when I'm taking class because I'm not enjoying it anymore. Yeah, and then I discovered that she does these intensives, and at first I was a bit, um, yeah, I don't know. I thought, okay, maybe this is more for like professionals, probably what many people think when they see it. And then also I saw that she was only doing it in the US mostly back then, I think, and that it was also like kind of like expensive. So it's like a huge investment. Um, but then I don't know, there was this point, it was at the end of my bachelor degree when I was, I mean, I had studying classical music is also not easy. You're also like in a very competitive field, and you're also you're comparing yourself to others all the time. You're only focused on getting better, on optimizing yourself, and I was just so drained by all of this. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself as a reward and take the step and take an intensive with her. First of all, because I wanted to get back into dancing, because at that point I was also like so much into my music stuff that I wasn't really dancing anymore. And also because I heard like all these positive feedback from people who had taken that intensive, that it was just not only transformative for dancing itself, but also like it had like this bigger approach. And I was like, okay, now is the time. I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
And then you did it. So was that
I
in the
did it.
US, your first session?
No, it was in London.
Oh, London.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think back then she did like LA, New York, and London. So
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool. I definitely relate to what you were saying about Instagram and the
Mm,
comparison thing. So I know you mentioned you're 31, I'm 30. So like we were
yeah.
experiencing that like social media around the same age, and around the same time. And it was definitely interesting and difficult, I feel like, with the constant comparison, and now it's evolved into what it is now. So when you throw in just that already competitive environment within dance, within music, and then you throw in social media, it's like, oh boy, it's like a double
Uh,
whammy.
yeah. Right.
So that's cool that you were able to finally take your first session, and you said that there was a bigger approach that you took with you after that intensive. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I mean, in general, I am a person that struggles a lot with I don't know, comparing myself to others, as I mentioned already, and also being super critical with myself and always seeing the bad, always seeing the negative things, um, not just in dance, but like in life. And
Yeah.
I think where Galen starts is exactly there. Like, looking at yourself with kind eyes, that's this whole concept that she came up with. Um, being proud of yourself the way you are, and actually seeing the progress that you make while you make it, and being proud of that. And that was just something that really helped me, not just with dance, but like in general, I have to say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's such a powerful
Mm,
tool, I feel like, especially when you're used to being so hard on yourself. But when you give yourself that permission of like, oh, I can be kind to myself, like what a
mm.
concept if you're not used to that. And then it's like you're introduced to something that's new and healthy and available to you, and then you realize like, oh, this can really change how I approach everything that I do, and
Yeah.
not just dance, and take it with you for years later, which is
Yeah.
so powerful. And then you were able to do another session in 2022 in
Hmm.
Berlin, right? So did
Yeah.
you come out of that feeling like refreshed?
Yeah.
Like it was like
Totally.
a not like a redo of the first time, but just kind of like building upon the first intensive, or how did you feel coming out of that one versus the first one?
I mean, I have to say, I walked in a lot more confident, I have to say, because I basically knew what to expect. And I was not so terrified. I
Yeah.
remember the first time I was really terrified about the filming.
Mm,
Like, I don't like being in front of cameras at all.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And the second time I already knew, okay, this is going to happen. It's going to be fine. Everyone is super supportive. So, yeah. But like the second time, because I was a bit calmer, I think I could just focus more on really expressing what I want to express, and conveying that like through dance. And I think I had like more, it was easier for me to focus on that, because the first time I was just like overwhelmed with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also did, like, doing the second time, she did Bury a Friend,
Mm-hmm.
which is just so great for like expressions, like especially facial expressions. And that was just for me like exactly the right thing at the right time to do. So yeah, that was definitely difficult. Difficult. different. That's the
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that video of yours and I like had a smile on my face watching the Bury a Friend routine. And I did the classic session last year in
Oh
person,
yeah.
and we also did Bury a Friend. But it's so cool, like what you were mentioning before about enjoying watching other people dance and seeing their interpretation of the music, the routine and the lyrics. And so watching you and seeing how different it is versus what I did and what other people did, it's just so mesmerizing. Like it's so cool to see how you can take one routine and just totally make it
Right.
something
Yeah.
completely different, but it's still the same routine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Uh,
what I was referring to earlier, why I loved watching people dance because that's just fascinating. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I also saw that you did a performance in 2020, your Ave Maria
Oh
performance.
yeah. Yeah,
Can
true.
you, which it was so beautiful, by the way, I did watch it. Can you talk about what that project was?
Well, I used to sing in like this chamber choir for a long time, and we had this idea of doing a music video for quite a while back then. And I was not involved in developing the concept. Like there was a group of people who did it, and then they were like, "Ooh, we would really like to have a dancer. Oh, Annabelle, she's not a professional, but she's a dancer. We can ask if she was going to do it." And I was like super hesitant at the beginning because again, I'm not a professional, especially not in that style. And it's just like also putting myself in a vulnerable position, doing that in front of my friends and I don't know, people to see it. And it was just, yeah. And then the pandemic hit, um, which also had like an influence on how this whole thing turned out in the end. But yeah, and then I was like, actually, this is a really cool chance of creating something completely also on my own because there was no choreographer or something involved. Like I had to come up with everything. I just had, I mean, they gave me like some raw ideas that they had, for example, with this white, how you call it,
Like a cloth or
yeah, exactly. Yeah, with that. But other than that, I was just completely free in doing whatever I want. So it was actually a fun, creative process, especially during the pandemic when everything was shut down and you couldn't really do anything. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, that was exciting. Yeah.
That's cool. And I love to hear that you were given the opportunity to choreograph as well. And I mean, and like you said that you aren't a professional, but when I watched that, I was like, that is like professionalism. And it was so beautiful to watch. I mean, it was just so
Oh, thank you.
unique. Just like the concept in general, but also like your dancing, like it's just so mesmerizing and calm. And that's why I was saying earlier, like it's so interesting that your favorite style is like commercial hip hop. Because when I watch that, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like an expert, and that style that you were doing, more contemporary, lyrical ballet. But can you talk about what it was like leaving that project after going into it with a little bit of hesitation?
Mm. I mean, I have to say, like during filming, I was actually quite confident because I just felt like, okay, it works. Like the idea works. It's flowing. Like also like the director that we had, he was very supportive and he had like a great understanding of how to make it work and also how to bring together the choir and me in the space. Also given the distance rules that we had to bear in mind and everything. I remember after filming, I was a bit like, okay, it's gonna definitely be difficult for me to rewatch the material in the end and then see how it really turned out. And that was difficult. When I saw it, I was like, oh my God, actually,
Oh, you were
I
so
don't want,
critical.
I don't want anyone to see this. What am I doing?
Oh,
I was, yeah, especially like, technique wise, that's what I meant. Like, I'm not a contemporary dancer. And I mean, many people won't even notice. like things
Yeah.
like the
I mean,
feet or
I wouldn't.
position, whatever, but
Yeah.
I was just like looking at it and was like, oh my God. Oh. um, but yeah, then actually in the end, when I saw the whole final cut and the final result, I was like, okay, this is just like an aesthetically like an overall like really nice product, let's say. And then I was actually happy with it. Now when I go, I cannot watch it now anymore because now it just makes me cringe. I have to say.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
I think you need to watch it again with
maybe.
the kind eyes
Yeah, I'm trying.
perspective
Yeah,
mindset.
it's hard.
Yeah. Like yeah, it is. I mean, and it just goes to show that's like a ongoing forever thing that
Mhm,
we are like
mhm.
working through. It's not always something where it's like you check the box and it's like, "Oh, I'm always like, you know, easy on myself when it comes to that stuff." But I mean, I like already said it, but like watching it, I was like so mesmerized by what you were
Oh,
doing. And if it helps, like I do have a background in ballet, lyrical, all of that. And like I was like, I want more of this, honestly. So I personally loved it. I think it would be different too if you watched it now because it's been years later.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Sometimes it's nice to have that time away from something and then you return and you're like, oh, like this was even better than I realized.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I can look at it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe I can challenge you to when you have spare time to watch it back cuz I really enjoyed it. So, with everything you have going on right now, your work, you're about to be traveling again soon within your work. Um what are you focusing on in your life right now at 31 years old?
Ooh. Um, yeah, actually, I feel like I'm at a turning point a little bit right now because I'm like questioning my whole career at the moment. And I'm like, okay, what do I actually want to put a great focus on in my life? Do I really want to be like at the moment, like work is my major thing that I do. It's just super time consuming. And I'm just
Mhm.
really like asking myself, is that how I want things to be? um or do I want to have like more time for whatever, making music, taking classes, these kind of things? So that's something that's on my mind. And then I'm obviously also thinking like, okay, what could I do if not this?
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm not like stressing about it. It's more like I feel like my I'm opening up my mind a bit more for different possibilities. I'm not so rushed anymore. Like in my 20s, I was like, okay, I gotta do the next thing, the next step, nah, nah, nah. And now I'm just a bit more, okay, there's other things out there. There's more than work, you know.
Yeah.
So that's something that's on my mind quite a lot. And also, do I want to stay in Berlin? Do I want to go somewhere else? Whatever, like these kind of things.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I feel like after the 20s, I'm now more like, okay, what's the actual direction I want my life to go in? What are my priorities? And how do I make time for them? So yeah, that's something that, yeah, I think about a lot.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And I also agree with what you said about like opening up your mind to the opportunities. I do feel like in my 20s, I was also like, I've got to do these things by this time in my life.
Hmm.
And now I'm like, I mean, maybe I experienced that just a tiny bit still, but for the most part, I'm like, just like kind of seeing where things go. I'm making conscious decisions, but I'm also like, I'm not going to put a timeline on it. And honestly, it just takes the biggest weight off of your shoulders. And it's
Right?
like,
Yeah.
what is meant to happen will happen. And you have say in that, of course, but it's nice to get to that place where you're just like, I'm open and thinking about the opportunities and we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, but there's no rush really. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. And so you talked about like what's important in your life right now. Is there like a value that you have that you're like, this is really important to me and where I am in my life right now?
Um, like recently I thought about all the relationships in my life, like friends, family, romantic relationships. And I feel like that is something that I have not taken enough time for in the past couple of years. And I just feel a strong urge of like nurturing them more and having more of that. And giving more, like in general, more room for things that I enjoy. Like I'm really, like, as you can see, something that is, yeah, like on my mind a lot at the moment is this: how much time do I want to give to my work? Because
Mm,
that's just like the biggest thing. And I just really strongly feel that I don't want it to be like that anymore. So yeah.
mhm. Yeah, and the more time you spend towards something, that means the more time that's taken away from something else, so
Exactly. Yeah.
and most of the time that does mean you're taking time away from your friends and your family, and um, it's difficult to manage. I don't know if you can ever find a balance within all of it. Like you kind of are always putting more hours in something, and that can be constantly changing. But I think that's good to be aware of as a dancer. So you talked about the challenges that you've experienced with comparison. Is there an experience as a dancer where it was challenging? And was there anything that you did to overcome that experience?
Well, what was specifically challenging was my weight. I really had like issues with that. And I remember at like 12 or 13, um, I was once told that I had to lose weight because otherwise I could not stay in the teams, go to the competitions with them, stuff like that.
Mm,
Um, and then back then, I just didn't really know what. I mean, I started like starving myself, all these horrible kind of things, and
yeah,
it took like, I don't know, at least 10 to 15 years to overcome that. Because
yeah,
then even later, like with 15 or 16, when I was more into this commercial scene, where I feel
hmm,
like it's even worse. Even if you're not a professional, it's still always there, and you're always in front of a mirror, and like people are talking about it and all
yeah,
these kind of things. Um, and I lost a lot of weight during that time, and I was still always the biggest person in the room. And it was not a nice experience,
yeah,
but it just, like, I think right now, um, going through it, it just taught me that this is not like, it is not important how you look. It is not, it just doesn't matter. It's like so much more important how you feel,
yeah,
in general in life, but also when you're moving. As long as you feel good, as long as you feel comfortable, if your body can do whatever you want it to do, you're fine. And it doesn't matter if you, whatever, fit into a certain size. But that was definitely, yeah, that was hard. Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, I think many dancers
Mm.
can relate to that experience, and I definitely can as well. It's it's such a hard thing to experience when you have other people commenting on your body, telling
Mm.
you certain things that you just don't need to hear in general, but also at a young age, when you're still developing and your body's changing. And it's like really what you should be doing is fueling your body, not the opposite. And so it's unfortunate that many people make those comments. I hope things are changing. I would like to think that they are, but there's probably still a long way to go. Um, and but when you can get to the other side of it, it really teaches you what is important in your life, and that looking a certain way really is not the top priority. And if your body's able to allow you to move and to do the things that you love to do, then that's really all that matters. And of course, other people are going to have other opinions, but that's kind of their problem and not ours.
Yeah. Preach. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry you went through that. That's so tough, but to hear that you were able to come out on the other side with a perspective that not everyone gains, I think, is like a beautiful way to see such a challenging
Yeah.
experience.
And I have to say, what it also did is, I mean, I used to hate to see myself on camera. It's, as I said, it's still hard, like pictures, videos, whatever. And I think that came mainly from this experience in class.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like right now I'm a bit more confident about it. And that has also something to do with Galen's intensives, because it's always like a huge topic also there.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped me to feel a bit more at ease um, being in front of a camera. Not that you have to do it like every day of your life, obviously, but just feeling comfortable moving and having people watch you. That is just something I feel I can do now better.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably be terrified doing her on camera intensive. I think you've done it, right?
Yeah, I did do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Oh,
nice.
you should do it if you ever have the
Yeah.
opportunity. It's so far been my favorite intensive
Yeah, I mean,
so far.
I've seen the video. It was really incredible. Yeah, I have to say,
Thank you.
really nice. Yeah.
I don't know if she'll be doing
Mm.
it in Europe. I'm not sure what her schedule is with that, but even if you're terrified, I would recommend doing it
Yeah.
because the way that you feel coming out of it, and for me it was more so like months after practicing the critiques and concepts, it's
Mhm.
like my love for the camera has like evolved so much, and
Oh,
I
that's
at one
nice.
point was also like so extremely terrified. I can't not even explain to you. I returned to dance a few years ago, and I wasn't used to the concept of cameras constantly being in class. So when that was
Hmm.
happening, my body and brain would like shut down, and I like
Yeah,
would
totally.
forget everything. And so I became so terrified of it. And so anyway, my relationship to the camera has evolved a lot over the years, but after doing that intensive, I realized like I love the camera. So if you're able to do it, if you're thinking about it, even
Mm.
if you're scared, I would totally do it because you come out
Okay.
a different person. But I could
That's
talk about that
nice.
all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, I think,
Mm.
the how those intensives really can change a lot
Oh
for
yeah.
people, no matter what they are.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Mm.
so for anybody that may be going through a difficult time in their lives where they're trying to figure out things, or maybe they're working through something that's really tough, just based off of your life experience, what's something that you would tell them?
Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. And also be aware that everything is a process, and little goes a long way. So you never know where this experience will take you. And just, yeah, it sounds odd, but just really trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's really great advice.
Mm.
So the last question I want to ask you. So let's say you were in your work environment and you are on a break, and one of your coworkers comes up to you and they're like, "Oh, I've seen your dance videos. You're a dancer. I love watching them. So why do you dance?" What would you tell them?
Mm. Probably because it's fun in the first place, and because it helps me expressing things that I can express by talking. So, yeah, probably that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like that's the reason why so many people do it. It's so like we already talked about, just so nice that we're able to have that outlet where we're able to freely express and not have to think about putting what we're experiencing into words.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Annabelle, for being on the podcast. I really
Thank you.
enjoyed learning a little bit more about you, and thank you for sharing more of yourself and your experience with everyone listening.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you all so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. We appreciate you all, and we will see you all in the next episode.